and that we are culpable for that. We may not suffer in hell because of it, but Christ certainly suffered on our behalf because of it. It is a sin to reject or to neglect the truth that God has provided for you, whether it's in the Old Testament, the New Testament, or in creation. And that's a problem. I think all too often we don't think about general revelation as revelation. It is revelation. We somehow, for some reason, another reason, it's Kant, we think about general revelation as synonymous with philosophy. But that would be like saying that the Old Testament and the New Testament are synonymous with doing theology. There's a difference between interpreting the revelation and the revelation itself. And no amount of confusing those two gives you a valid excuse to neglect the revelation itself. Jews abuse the Old Testament every single time they read it. They are sinning in the conclusions they come to about it every time they read it. That doesn't mean we should not study the Old Testament. That doesn't mean that there's not glorious, good, God-glorifying things in the Old Testament for us to use and apply in our Christian lives. Same thing goes with general revelation. Same thing goes with God's creation. And maybe you don't know how to address it because it's different. It's not hermeneutics. It's philosophy. It's epistemology. There are certain rules that you have to abide by in order to do it rightly. And maybe it's just we don't feel comfortable doing that. We got to get comfortable. And maybe you don't have to do it specifically, but you really need to want somebody in the church to be doing it for you. The church is a body. Not everybody has to be a philosopher, just like not everybody has to be a pastor or an Old Testament professor. But we need Old Testament professors, we need pastors, and we need philosophy professors. We need Christian philosophy professors who are exploring God's general revelation and mining the glorious truths in it and sharing it with his church. But we can't do that so long as we think it's unspiritual or unholy. But I don't think there's any reason to think that. I think there's actually very good reason to think otherwise. Thank you.